Jay here, Full-Time Devils. Joining me for a chat today is Ian Stirling from Manchester United Supporters Trust. Ian, thanks for coming back on the channel. You've been on before. It's been an interesting time for Manchester United, shall we say. Ian, we saw the protest, or the planned protest last week for the Wolves game. Didn't really happen, certainly not in the way that the people behind it wanted it to. What did you make of that process? Did you think of it was a good idea, or what did you make of the way it didn't really happen?
I think any kind of protest during the game is going to be difficult. You've got a 75,000 crowd there. What's going to be judged as a success for people joining in? People spread throughout the ground. What's undeniable, though, is the strength of feeling towards the board and the ownership at the minute. And to demonstrate that during a game, there's lots of challenges. Look, we had Fernandes making his debut. We're chasing the game. It's still 0-0. It's going to be difficult to get any kind of support. Fair play to the lads who tried to get something organised and do it, but it's always difficult during a game. Historically, during the height of the protests in 2010, the strategy was always to protest on the 80th minute.
Right, okay.
If we were winning.
Good luck with that now. But right, yeah.
Different times.
Yeah.
If we were winning. So, it was that thing of support the team, defend the club. You want your team to do well. We're all United fans. You want your team to do well, but you want to make your voices heard against the Glazers then, and the board and the Glazers now. So you can't fault the motivation from people, but I think there's definitely better ways of doing it, and I'm sure they accept that now.
Yeah,
the people who are behind it, I'm sure they accept that. It's this thing of sometimes then your motivations get tempered, and you direct your focus in a different area to do things. So I'm sure they'll step back and reassess where they are.
Yeah, because we spoke to Anthony, one of the lads who came up with the idea, and I know there were people that took part. I'm not saying that it wasn't. There was people that took part. I just don't think it had the had the impacts that many people hoped it was. And also there was a little bit of confusion as well, because I was on social media the day of the game and people were saying, it's not going to happen, or it's the 58th, not the 68th minute. So I think that didn't help, and I think it was sort of the message along the way got a little bit lost. Now, I've obviously introduced you, Manchester United Supporters Trust. Some people may not be sure about Must and where you stand and what Must are about. It just tells a little bit about Must and their sort of the relationship with the club and what you guys do.
Yeah, Must, Manchester United Supporters Trust, formerly Sheffield United, going all the way back to when Murdoch tried to take over, 98. So been around quite a while. We converted into Manchester United Supporters Trust after supporter shares were compulsory purchased when the Glazers took over. So shareholders United before was shareholders in United, who were United fans, and we provided a vehicle for supporters to be able to buy shares in the club. So if you wanted to stick in a tenner a month, great, you could do that, and you could buy a percentage of a share or shares. So it made it accessible for supporters. And then we obviously transferred to Must. Excluded from the club in a lot of ways. We were very anti-ownership. Central to a lot of protests that went on in 2005 and in 2010 with the Green and Gold campaign. Kind of relationship changed after that. The whole landscape kind of changed, really. The Glazers weren't going anywhere. If they weren't going to sell in 2010 after the Green and Gold, what position were we in? What could we do? So we had tact changed slightly then as to trying to represent the views of supporters more, whilst still being an organisation whose main pillar was to always want owners who have the same priorities as supporters, whoever that is. So if it is a matter of representing supporters' views, to put relevant pressure on the club to consider match-going fans, members, Manchester United fans in future decisions. That's what we did, but our primary purpose is about ownership. Now again, that's changed. We've not got, many United fans sat around with £3 to £4 billion sat in their accounts who are just going to come along, and we're, obviously we're in a position where we just don't, we don't want the certain owners who've got dubious.
Yeah, I mean, there's been, just to interject there, there's been talk about again this week. The royal family from the Middle East were interested in Newcastle now, apparently. I mean, I take all these stories with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
They're interested in United again. I mean, that throws its own sort of conundrum, doesn't it? Because, I don't like the Glazers and I wish they'd sell up and move on. But then I don't want my club being used to sort of distract from human rights abuses, which, sports washing or whatever you call it. So you're sort of stuck in a bit. And I think it is possible to dislike the Glazers and want rid of them and not want to go down the route of being a sports washing club or whatever you call it.
You're totally right. United fans, I'd say that probably the majority of United fans, there are some United fans who would just, welcome anyone in. Fair enough, that's all right. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but we say we see a better way for United. Our most successful season ever, we were shareholders. I was the part owner of a football club that won the proper treble, not some plastic treble. As you were yourself, and lots of United fans. So we want to see that again. We're pro supporter involvement and supporter ownership, and we want owners who have the same priorities. I'll say it again, same priorities as supporters. Where every single decision made is geared towards success on the pitch.
Are you able?
And that's what it's about.
Because you have a dialogue with the club. Are you able to sort of support the protest where you see fit and still have that dialogue? Does that not throw up any sort of problems?
Yeah, there are some tensions with that. I'm sure there are lots of people from within the club who just want us to roll over so they could tickle our tummies. We're not going to do that. We do our best to give the views of supporters and supporters' feelings and where they are at the moment. And if that's bad news, and if supporters are unhappy, and if supporters feel discontent, and if they're not happy with the way the club's being run, and we don't say that, what's the point of us?
Yeah.
And we do that, and it causes tensions. But we, that's what it's about. So what we speak to the club, and we speak honestly. It's fans forum meeting last Friday where, we said you have to understand the feeling of United supporters and where they are at the minute, and why there's such toxicity. Why there's why there's a chance in the stadium, because the supporters have very few ways in being able to voice their feelings.
Yeah.
And strangely, kind of, they accept that. I think they accept the position we're in terms of support feeling. But now the challenge is with them to address that.
You mentioned there the word toxicity, and it's a word that I've used before and I've heard it quite a lot, and I get where you're coming from. And yes, the fans are against the owners, arguably now more than they have been since the green and gold or since 2005. But there's also seems to be a lot of fractures between the fans disagreeing on how best to go about certain things, how best to protest, how best to, some people supporting certain chants, others against it. What do you make of it, or do you think it is becoming a bit fractured, or do you think this is just sort of the nature of it?
I think it always is. Come on, we've just gone through 3.5 years of Brexit, 3 general elections.
Yeah.
There's a million people and a million different views.
Yeah.
Yeah, football supporters are no different. We all see different ways. But I think sometimes there's a frustration that creeps in from people where they see what the problem is, but they can't see a solution. or he can't see an end game, or there's no viable alternative there, so people get frustrated, and that is totally understandable. As an organisation, happy to work with anyone else to achieve our goals. No problem with that at all, and we have done. We will do. With many organisations that have cropped up like within United that have had different aims. We always do our best to work with them. We're a supporters organisation, and that's what we do, and that's what we'll always do. We're not there to tell anyone else what they should be doing.
No.
Apart from the club, obviously. But so we do our best to support other groups, but we're in a social media age, where people can have an opinion and air it.
Tell you where you're going wrong.
Exactly. Yeah. But I'd rather concentrate on what we need to do.
Yeah.
To try and put things right. The challenge is, the power's not in our hands with that.
Yeah.
One, we're listed on the New York Stock Exchange. It's not accessible for us.
No.
Okay, you can go and buy some shares, but it's going to cost you a fortune to go and do it. We'd rather see it floated, United floated on the London Stock Exchange. It's accessible to us. We can run a share scheme. Supporters can get involved, demonstrate their desire for a better way of owning United, even demonstrate that desire to any potential owners that are going to come in after that.
Do you think that can happen, what you're talking about there?
I think it can. I really do think the desire is there from United fans. I think that is something positive. I think a share ownership scheme is positive. You're not just shouting, at someone telling them what they're doing wrong. You're putting your money where your mouth is, and you're getting behind it and saying you want to be part of a solution. And I think if something positive like that is in place, it is a very, very successful share scheme previously. Very successful. I think, off the top of my head, I think it's about 19% of the club shares were in United's hands. That's a sizable chunk.
That's great. I think I'd love to see that something like that happen again. I really would.
And that's great. I want to be part of the club. I don't want to be treated as a customer. I want, never going to get equal status. I've not got, hundreds of millions spare, but be treated as part of the solution rather than.
Do you see that then as sort of something that could lead to that sort of dialogue or process or whatever that could end up with at the end?
I think it's kind of
an end game where the owners say, okay, we're open to doing something.
Lots of things have got to change. Look, the Glazers have always been pretty secretive.
Yeah.
Ever since that first MUTV interview where they said, let's talk with fans, we're open, and then they've never spoken to anyone since.
No.
Maybe they do that, they see as that, it being fulfilled and talking to people, through the club. But it's crazy to me that you've got this pool of wealth, passion, resources in terms of United fans who want to be involved and want to be part of it, and they don't listen to that, don't take part in it, or even capitalise in it, as some people may think. But for me, it'd be the way forward. It gives supporters a positive channel to go down, take part in the ownership, demonstrate your desire about what you want, and then you can have a voice in terms of a shareholder. You want equal shares, obviously, not these daft A.
Yeah, because they put some shares on, A shares, whatever they were, or B shares, whatever they were. Was it 1/10 of the voting rights or something? Right, you spend a lot of money to get that.
Vote. Come on, my pound's equal to your pound. Yeah. That's it. It's give it equal voting rights. And we, as supporters, we don't want what's bad for the club. If you're going to put your money in, you're not trying to make things worse. So make supporters part of the ownership, whoever it is. And we'd say that for whoever the owner is, within reason. So why not? Why not do that? And this is the we've asked numerous times about a share scheme at United, because we have to have their support to be able to do it.
Yeah.
It's an idea which is constantly at the forefront for us, and we see that as part of the solution.
Absolutely. I mean, sort of one of the most talked about people at United at the minute, for the last few years, has been Ed Woodward. Now, I've got no time for Ed Woodward. I've been very critical of him on this channel almost since the first time I came on here. My only sort of worry that do you think it's just him that's the issue? Because my worry is if you get rid of Ed Woodward and replace him with another investment banker, that doesn't do us any good. Do you think he needs to go and there needs to be more change, or is he the main issue, or what do you make of all the sort of the anti-Woodward sentiment, which many of us, myself included, have?
The structure's the problem,
right?
And whoever's in that position, it's going to be an issue. If your prime objectives or main concern is about commercial success, he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
At the minute, commercial success follows success on the pitch, and they clearly haven't had that balance right for quite a while. So I think it's about structure. It's the supporters' view that his role hasn't been effective in terms of what we're doing on the pitch, what we're doing in the transfer market, despite the fact that people say we've spent lots of money.
There's just no strategy though, is there?
But there doesn't appear for supporters to be any kind of strategy of where we're going. Now, results speak for themselves for me. You live and die by your decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the moment, we're in a pretty poor place.
Yeah.
You know, and they have to take responsibility for that, whoever's in the position. But don't forget as well that Ed Woodward is joint. You know, vice chair.
Right.
You know, where's the other guy? Where's Joe Glazer coming along explaining his position?
Well, this is it, because we hear stories, don't we, about...
And they've got to, and that the supporters are
them
there
having
to
a say in
hold.
transfers and things
Exactly.
like that.
Look, we've got behind Solskjaer.
Yeah.
As his only right. We've got behind him. You have to trust in this process. You have to, and he has to be seen to be getting the backing. Do supporters believe at the minute that he's getting the backing that he needs? We've had more players going out than that have been coming in. It does seem like poor planning. You know, if we got Fernandes now, why didn't we get him in the summer?
Exactly. It seems everything seems reactionary.
I've not seen
rather than a plan.
I don't know how to pronounce it yet. Igalu.
Oh, didn't Igalu?
Whatever we're going to call. You know, Igalu. You know, it appears to supporters like a unplanned knee-jerk reaction. I can't. You know.
Yeah,
I bet at the 1st of January he wasn't a target.
No, and listen, I'm with you. I will always get behind Ollie. I'll get behind Igalo, Fernandes. I always get behind the players. I'll be critical when they deserve criticism, but I will get behind them. But you look at it and you think, you know, that you go back to the Igalo signing, and I hope he works out. And I know he's a big United fan, and you know he has scored in the past in the Premier League, and I hope he can be a success. I really do. But you look in the morning, we're linked with Josh King, and in the afternoon, we're linked with him. It doesn't sound to me like there's a plan there. It seems like, can we get him? Oh no, they want 50 million. Oh, what about him?
Desperation, isn't it? It seems like a desperation is set in, and that's the issue. And United fans can see that.
Yeah,
we're not daft.
No,
we can see it. So, you know, but I mean, on the football side, you can see what Solskjaer's trying to be doing. There were players that needed to move on. But don't leave yourself exposed. Don't leave your squad thin. No. Don't leave it so we know that, you know, as soon as we get a couple of injuries, we're going to be struggling to, you know, fill positions properly with the players that we want to see. Don't put pressure on young players coming through and, you know, putting them under great strain, and, you know, in terms of subsequent injuries, pressure. You know, Danny James coming out this morning talking about mental health, these kind of things. Fair play to him. You know, stuff like that. You don't want to ruin the kind of young kids, and obviously you don't sign it people that have come in as well. Wan-Bissaka, you know, he's been getting a bit of criticism, and you know, Harry Maguire. It's like it used to be you'd sign under Ferguson, you get a year to settle in.
No,
you know, you've not got that kind of luxury now. So there's a sense of, you know, shit hitting the fan and desperation, and United fans can see that. And on top of that as well, you know, in terms of what's happening at the top of the table, and
we're trying to avoid that. It does.
Saying that, City are getting away with it lightly.
Yeah.
You know, really, really lightly. You look at the gap between them and Liverpool. If that had been us, we'd have been slated for it. They're letting them run away with it. We held them off for 25 years.
They've had a few years of it, and the wheels all come off.
Just keep it in perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Just talking on the pitch, you mentioned there about Igalo, you mentioned Fernandez coming in. Do you think United can get top 4 this season? Do you think that's realistic?
Look at the table. Anyone even close to the relegation zone can get top 4.
It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Top 4's up for grabs. But 4th place, I'd say, is up for grabs.
And to be fair,
whether we can get it, another matter.
Look at anyone from 3rd down, you could be still in a relegation.
Back-to-back wins or back-to-back losses, and you're all over again. Apart from the one obvious, it's a terrible league. Yeah. And personally, I think it's been a bad league since 2011. Since 2013.
Well, I mean,
since we last won it, I agree.
No, I mean, in terms of competitiveness.
I think
you don't want people running away. Obviously, you don't want people running away with this season. But
I think there is getting a sort of bigger gap between the top few teams and the rest, especially.
You don't want that.
No, it's
especially at the minute.
No, you spoke about Ollie. Do you think he is long term the right man for the job? Or do you think we're just gonna have to wait and see?
There's only been one exception recently that I never thought was going to be long term for the job, but Mr. Moyes.
Oh God,
that's that. A lot of it goes back to that. Letting Gill and Ferguson go at the same time.
It's crazy.
An atrocious decision, and we're still paying for that now. Yeah. Whether I think Ollie's the right man for the job, long term or not, is irrelevant. But what we want to see is that manager fully supported all the way along. And I don't just mean in the stands. I mean by the club, by the board. If you employ someone and you believe in their vision, support them 100%. Go for it. He's on the plus side. We have got rid of players who it was probably time for them to move on. He's brought you through. His signings, I think, will come good. Some of them had great starts to the season. The pressure's built, and I think it's reflected.
Well, in the first few weeks, we all thought, first week, after the first game, the 4-0 was like, Dan James is amazing, Wan-Bissaka's amazing, Maguire's great. This is, we've hit the jackpot.
Give him time, and unfortunately, we've not got that luxury of time. I believe in Ollie.
No,
he's as a person, fantastic person. I hate to see the pressure that he's under. I hate seeing him at his age so much. You can see some of the stress he's getting to him. Some of the press conferences and
I know that's what pains me. You mentioned David Moyes and it reminds me a bit of him. Some of the comments, and I don't like saying that.
And it's not, but it's not out of a negative way. Look, we go back 12 months. Everyone was calling for him to get the job.
I know, yeah.
Everyone.
Almost, you're right. It was sort of 12 months ago when we started it, really sort of getting results that people started to take notice of. Yeah. And obviously, Paris was the icing on the cake.
Yeah. So and he's shown what he can do.
Yeah.
Support him. Get behind him. Give him the money he wants.
Do you think they will?
I hope they do.
Because it's a bit trigger happy, to say the least.
If you don't, what are you saying? What you're saying, I failed in my appointment again.
I know, but it goes back to what you said earlier about the commercial side of things, and if Woodward is saying, I'm making us money, are the Glazers going to be all right with that?
I think you see,
despite the fact that we're not making as much money as we should be.
What we need to look at is that commercial success follows success on the pitch.
Yeah,
when we're. Okay, we're still in.
I was hoping, and it pains me to say this, but I think me and you were chatting end of last season, and I was saying, I was hoping that the one good positive from that mob winning the league would come is that our owners might see that you can have your cake and eat it. If you put money into the club, it'll make, because they're making more money than they've ever made. With shrewd investment,
being given more money than they've ever been given.
Yeah, but
no, it does go.
Do you know what I mean?
It follows the success, doesn't it?
And unlike City, Liverpool have got that fan base where they can around the world. Where if they have on the pitch success, they're going to get a lot of profit from it. Whereas City never had that catchment. But it's wishful thinking because nothing's changed. A
lot of people view the problem as how much you got to spend to be winning the league. Especially in United's position. What are you looking at?
looking at least another 200, 300 million, aren't you?
Probably in a bit more over 3 seasons, probably, to be in a position to be really challenging serious for the league. I think you probably got to be spending, because there's a premium for signing for United. We're always going to pay more.
Well, we have done, haven't we?
And in the position we're in, we've always got to offer more as well. So you're probably looking at 400 or 500 million. But what's your return on that?
Yeah. And if you're looking at it from the way they will, they're probably
what's your return? So what's the point?
That's
we're in the position where Arsenal were a few seasons
me.
Ago, where that's all right. We only need to finish top 4, and we, guarantee the finances.
What was that quote? Is it the on pitch doesn't affect the commercial revenue or whatever it was? I'm paraphrasing.
Well, it quite obviously will.
Yeah,
it quite obviously does, and I think there's got to be serious concerns where sponsors are going to be renegotiating, and if that's been the bread and butter, that's where they've been earning the money, and that's where they've been getting the plaudits for increasing revenue. When it starts going down, they've got to be looking at themselves.
Well, more often than not, we're not in the Champions League, and if you're a sponsor, you're looking for your
highest profile.
Yeah, your brand to be in the biggest profile or the highest profile tournament, and we're not in it most seasons. So,
and I think this is a support feeling with this as well, Che, because United fans know what our profile is around the world. Because it's in there, it's what they feel all the time, and part of the hurt at the minute is because they see that kind of being destroyed, and it's even more difficult at the minute to see who's overtaking us, and we want to build on that, not for profitability, to stick money in our pockets and us buy shares, but to reinvest back in the club for us to become bigger and better, not just on the pitch, but in terms of, your things like your ticket prices, your things like your facilities inside the stadium, all the initiatives. Old Trafford's a great place, a lot of tradition, a lot of history with it, but it still has to move with the times, and that doesn't mean abandoning your traditions. And it's almost like all that good feeling is being kind of frittered away, and there's so much negativity surrounding it. I mean, I think that's why it hurts so much for United fans to see what's happening. And then subsequently, this is where you get these fractions from, where people arguing amongst each other on social media. Maybe.
Know what you mean? Never get me arguing with anyone on social media. On a sort of less depressing note, one of the things you're involved in and must be involved in is safe standing. Yeah. Just what's the latest? I asked you about this last time on the channel. What's the latest with that?
He did. We was hoping it was going to move quite a bit faster than that, but they never do. As soon as you get committees of councillors and people from fire service and ambulance service and getting involved in all these kind of things, which is the one of the safety advisory groups, who then want a detailed list of all their concerns when, it frustrates the process, and that's kind of where we are with it at the minute. But it was discussed at the forum on Friday, where the club came out publicly. Minutes are out yet. So
exclusive,
exclusive for you, isn't it? Where they're ready to go with rail seats.
Brilliant.
At Old Trafford. We have they identified an area, J stand, funnily enough.
Yeah. Mile stopping ground.
But that is as a trial. Probably looking at about, I think it's around 1,500 seats that we're looking at doing, so sizable.
Decent.
Lots of reasons for it being in sort of quadrant straight away, view lines, and not interfered with for other part of the grounds. If you stick it in the middle, people's view lines of the pitch affected. It is traditionally 2 parts of J stand, which stand all the way through the games, and there's been a kind of agreement from the club that it's going to be accepted, even though it's still frowned on by people at the council and people who give you safety certificates and things like that. So with people already standing there, it means by introducing it there's going to be no opposition to it going in, or very, very little. There may be 1 or 2, but we can accommodate them within the stand by people moving people about. So we would hope by At the end of the season, we will have a safe standing rail seated trial in place, which will improve supporter safety.
Yeah.
If we have some goals to celebrate.
Big if. When Igalo starts banging him in, there'll be plenty, don't you worry about
that. But part of it for us is it helps towards, well, I believe it helps towards atmosphere.
Yeah.
You don't see a choir sat down, do you?
No.
You know, people are going to get behind a bit more. But it isn't an instant fix as well. It's a step towards building a community.
Yeah.
You know, so you get where people know each other, you get people who want to congregate in that area because you don't have to sit down. The loyalty builds up inside there. People get involved. You know who everyone is around you. You feel a bit less inhibited.
Yeah, no.
You know, all these kind of things, and then we can start working on the facilities in terms of what beer's on offer and not some £5 bottle of plastic piss. You know, all these kind of things.
Yeah.
Let's make it, personalised an area. Let's make it, the same kind of thing that TRA have been doing over.
Yeah.
Great trial over there. So we'll swap trials.
Yeah.
They can have rail seats as well, and we'll have their beer and pies and all the rest. But these are the kind of things that have to be put into place, I believe, for supporters. However your team's doing, it's what it's about. You can't treat supporters as one homogenous group.
No,
we all don't want to go hospitality and have a 3-course meal beforehand.
It's just a shame because I was saying to you last time when I was a kid, when I started going on my own without my dad, the scoreboard paddock was still standing. Me and my mates all used to, do things after the game, get a ticket, get in, meet up in the paddock. Like you say, great. And then in '94 they got rid of that. That was the last bit of standing. And I feel a bit sad that. I know fans can stand, but it's not the same, is it? So
no, it's not the same.
It builds that little bit of a community and stuff like that.
That's what it's about. You want to. Everyone wants to go to a game and feel part of something.
Yeah.
You don't go. It's like me turning up to some ground where I don't know anyone and sat there by myself, Billy, no mates. And you're not going to feel part of it.
No.
Well, you want to feel part of it, Old Trafford. That's what you go. And let's be fair. That's one of the real only attractions at the minute. We're on a tough time on the pitch, and that's what it's about. I enjoy going, meeting mates around me,
absolutely,
having a drink at half time, watching replays or whatever, criticising such and such, and seeing, making plans for the next game, for the next away, for a European trip. That's part of football.
Last time I was in here, we ended up chatting for about the first half. I nearly missed it.
Say that.
It took my eldest to do that.
We had a lot to talk about. You went to change your mobile number and didn't tell me.
Well, no, I know what you mean, mate. It'd be good to
that's
get
what it's about.
Back,
Isn't that what football is about?
Of course it is.
And you know what? If your team's performing and your team's winning as well, bonus. It's great. It makes it all the better. Those conditions were destroyed a long time ago. Yeah. Over a period of years. It's not going to be an instant fix. It's about building those conditions again. We're not on about it being unsafe. Yeah, we don't want to see, issues that have been before being repeated now.
No.
But we don't believe time's moved on. There's far better ways of doing it. We want to see those conditions, where supporters can stand safely during a game.
Yeah.
Get together, have a sing, support the team.
Crazy ideas.
And build a community.
It almost makes it sound enjoyable.
And if we can improve the facilities and your selection of beer, and there's all kinds of initiatives, all kinds of things that we can do. And that's what it's about.
That's hopefully the end of the season.
I would hope that'd be the rail seats. The plan is, look, if they come across safety advisory group and come around now and say, great, go ahead. Club are in a position to go ahead.
That's good.
It's not much in terms of it's not a big change. It's only replacing one seat for another. There's no seat loss.
Right.
No seat loss there at all. So it's just a matter of their procurement process and getting them installed. It's only 1,500 seats. Not good. I'll take my spanner. I'll give them a hand.
Yeah, well,
But and then the next step is then to get it rolled out into the parts of the ground where it's going to be well received and suitable. So, TRA section.
I think that makes such a difference.
TRA section. It's going to be, it's ideal spot for it. There.
Yeah.
There's talk about TRA moving round to where the family stand was. There's always been plans in place in terms of moving the family stand to more suitable.
So that's more long term. That plan
that's kind of more long term, but the opposite quadrant. And hopefully we can get a bit of the old left side, right side, and
remember days.
Start shouting at each other.
It'd help a lot as well if stuff on the pitch was a bit better. That always,
of course, that always would, but it doesn't change the reasons why we go to the game.
No, absolutely not.
If you look at the league, there's only a very small percentage who are actually successful.
Yeah.
It's not just about the success; it's actually about supporting your club, supporting your team, and your mates. The old match day routine.
It's right. I mean, recent years, one of the best atmospheres I remember was actually under David Moyes. Bizarrely.
When we were losing.
Yeah. And it was, the place was pumping, wasn't it? And it was like, watching the Scousers tear us apart.
It's that arsiness,
it's like,
I don't care. You're not going to change us. We're still going to get behind the team. And that's it. That's what it's about.
It is.
And those kind of conditions that you have to continually encourage, build, promote. Where we've been in a time previously, introduction of All-Seat Stadia, where those cultures were dismantled and discouraged. People's view that the game was gentrified. Come and give us your money, sit down, show up.
Yeah.
It was alien to the vast majority of traditional football supporters, and it's time to really value what they can bring to the game.
Yeah, absolutely, because it gets to the point sometimes where you are treated like that, and you think, is this worth it? Like, I can't sit with mates, I can't have a laugh, I can't, it's becoming hard graft.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that I'm watching Dross, and it's just, it spoils it, whereas if you get that atmosphere back, and even if the football's not always great, you don't care you don't care as much if you sort of meeting up with people and having a good time. But
that said as well, that is not to say that again, football supporters aren't one homogenous group.
No.
There are people who've done their time as well, who've, rebel rousers singing, and all that, who just want to sit down with the, with the
and
provide facilities for them.
Yeah, of course. You're not saying
people who want to go hospitality. Yeah, great, let them go hospitality. There's always going to be tourists. Great, charge them £10 times the price and subsidise youth tickets. Don't treat us supporters as one group, and that's it, and expect even the same standard of behaviour from all of them. Some are going to be a little bit more rowdy than others, but that's great. Let them do that safely and without any judgment from other people.
Sounds ideal. Sounds good. Ian, where can people find you and get in touch with Must, and what sort of things can they get in touch with you about? there's a question for you.
One of my roles at Must, one of my many roles at Must, I run an independent support liaison service.
Right.
And what we try to do is assist supporters with inquiries, and those inquiries can be far-ranging.
I can imagine.
All different times. So we try to put out information, it's kind of stuff that supporters want to know, like to me and you.
Yeah.
We kind of know what's happening anyway, majority of times. But you get a lot of younger supporters coming through who aren't aware. So we give travel advice.
Yeah.
For people, ticketing advice, feed into ticketing information with the club. Big one, at the moment is about the FA Cup games and the 5th round all being midweek. So finding out ticketing arrangements. All those kind of things, or people who've even been subject to sanctions by the club had tickets taken off them, so we can give help and advice along the way with that. You can find me on Twitter, although there was a parody account, so I'm not.
You've made it. You've got a parody account. You've done well there, man.
Until you got a parody.
You've hit a big time.
I thought it was quite funny.
Yeah.
It was quite good. So you can find us on Twitter at ISLO_must. And Must, just put MU_ST. You can find out what Must is doing there. And if you follow me personally, my jokes are terrible, mixed in with some football stuff.
They're not all bad.
But it's just this thing of trying to put information out, defending support culture, go and buy a fanzine.
Yeah, agreed.
Red News and United We Stand, two fantastic publications that, defenders of support culture, and that's we'd always support them.
My first ever job selling United we stand.
Was it?
Many years ago. Yeah.
It sat you.
Yeah, I remember what I was talking about. There was no sort of employment laws in those days. I was about 14, I think.
Oh gosh, slave
honestly,
labour.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
no,
it was
great lads.
Yeah,
they have a tough old job. Out there, rain and shine. It's not a United review.
No, it is. It's great, and I read both of those fans.
It's a different take. It's a different take on being a United fan, and it's a great, it's a great thing to do. Keeps me out of Trafford Centre on a Saturday afternoon under the wife's feet. Whatever. None of us want to be subjected to that. It's full of scousers there anyway, isn't it?
Don't let me start on that.
Get involved.
Yeah.
You never know, you might start writing for them. Or...
No, absolutely, yeah. Get involved in anything. We always encourage that, not just on our channel. You've got to come on our channel, you can. But, get in touch, like you say, the fanzine must are there to help as well, and always open to having a chat. Ian, it's been great talking to you.
And you, Jay.
Much appreciated. So that's been Ian Stirling from Must. You've heard where you can check him out as well. I've been Jay. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. We'll have lots more interviews coming up. We'll be covering all the games as well. We've got a little bit of a break now, but the games will be coming thick and fast, so we'll have all the fan cams, reactions and all that good stuff as well. This has been Full Time Devils. Thanks for watching.